Meanwhile, forget for a moment that Donald Trump's violation of international law is being discussed. The capture and arrest of another sovereign leader justified as a so-called anti-narco terror raid, all in the name of Venezuela's oil. And now Trump is floating something even more alarming, it seems. The idea of cancelling future U.S. elections altogether. What is perhaps most disturbing here is not the statement in itself, but the fact that it no longer even shocks the world. That is truly the dystopian part, it seems. And the American president raised the idea while addressing House Republicans at their annual retreat, before quickly insisting that he was not formally calling for elections to be cancelled, by reframing his comments as an attack on Democrats rather than a proposal. Speaking at the Kennedy Center to around 70 Republican lawmakers, the U.S. president said their policies were so bad that elections should not even be necessary, before adding that the media would brand him a dictator for even suggesting such a thing. His comments were part of a freewheeling speech that also included complaints about low approval ratings ahead of the midterm elections, also fresh musings about serving beyond the constitutionally mandated two-term limit. Yet, in doing so, Trump is just reinforcing his own stated fear of being labeled a dictator, the very fears that his critics, by the way, have long warned about. That he views the presidency less as a democratic office, really, and more as a personal weapon of power. You see, his comments come amid weak polling. Trump's approval rating has been hovering around 40%. We've been telling you about this. Despite repeatedly dismissing unfavorable polls as rigged, Trump expressed his frustration, telling his fellow Republican lawmakers he could not understand why the public was not responding to his right policies, quote unquote. He warned that losing the midterms would basically open the door to impeachment, saying plainly, I'm quoting, "If we don't win the midterms, they will find a reason to impeach me," quote unquote. Listen to this now.
The midterms, because if we don't win the midterms, it's just going to be, they'll find a reason to impeach me. I'll get impeached.
But just because Trump says it and really believes it does not make it lawful, of course. Federal law leaves no room for a U.S. president to cancel or postpone congressional elections. In the United States of America, the timing of federal elections is set by the Congress. It is administered by individual states, overseen by the courts. Even during war or national emergencies, there is no legal mechanism, really, allowing a president to unilaterally suspend elections. And yet, this has not stopped Trump from repeatedly flirting with the idea. During his first term, he publicly suggested, delaying the 2020 election despite having no authority to do so. More recently, in an August meeting with the Ukrainian president, Trump appeared to express approval of Ukraine's suspension of elections under martial law. Comments that at the time drew laughter in the room but alarm among critics at the same time. He was quoted as saying, I'm quoting now, "So during war, you cannot have elections. So if we happen to be in a war, no more elections, that's good," quote unquote. That was the statement by Donald Trump back then. Notably, those remarks came on the 5th anniversary of the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, when a pro-Trump mob violently stormed the Congress to stop the certification of his 2020 election defeat. We all saw those visuals, a result that Trump, remember, has never accepted. During Tuesday's address, he again falsely claimed the 2020 election was rigged, repeating allegations of widespread voter fraud that by now have been rejected by the courts, by election officials from both parties, as well as members of his own former administration. Still, Trump is Trump, and his presidency has increasingly become defined by contempt for democratic norms. But will Trump cancel democracy in the U.S. is still the question. Even in the land of the free and the home of the brave, a few are starting to question.